media. The LBC markets report. The FTSE 100's closed up too at 74.83. The pound buys $1.30 and €1.18. And LBC weather. Rain in the northwest tonight, southern and eastern areas, most a low of -1. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Thomas Watts.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation. The Nigel Farage Show.
Mr. Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Donald, and good evening, everybody. I've literally just got into this chair because I've been in the European Parliament for the afternoon, where we've been debating and, in the end, voting on the European Union's withdrawal from the European Union. Speeches from Mr. Verhofstadt, speeches from Mr. Barnier, speeches from Ursula von der Leyen, and from many others. Speeches, of course, from me. We'll hear a bit of what I had to say in a moment. I think I can say with some certitude that my speech was the most controversial, but then perhaps no surprises there. In the end, a vote. A vote whether we should leave on the terms of the current withdrawal agreement. I don't particularly like this withdrawal agreement, but Boris Johnson, Sajid Javid and others are talking tough. They are telling us there'll be no regulatory alignment. They're telling us absolutely clearly that we'll leave by the end of 2020. And I did get a sense today, for the first time, there was a bit more fear now on the European Union side of this negotiation than there is perhaps on our side. They're very, very worried. We're a very key market for them, and they're also very fearful, of us becoming, perhaps a competitor, something they don't like. So let's catch up with some of the action in the last hour. Let's begin with me finishing off my speech, and in the chair at the time was a Vice President of the European Parliament, Mairead McGuinness. She's an Irish MEP. She absolutely hates the Eurosceptics, not too keen on the Brits. Let's listen to that.
We don't need these institutions and all of this power. And I can promise you, both in UKIP and indeed in the Brexit Party, we love Europe. We just hate the European Union. It's as simple as that. So I'm hoping this begins the end of this project. It's a bad project. It isn't just undemocratic, it's anti-democratic, and it puts in that front row. It gives people power without accountability. People who cannot be held to account by the electorate, and that is an unacceptable structure. Indeed, there's an historic battle going on now across the West, in Europe, America, and elsewhere. It is globalism against populism. And you may loathe populism, but I tell you a funny thing, it's becoming very popular. And it has great benefits. No more financial contributions, no more European Court of Justice, no more common fisheries policy, no more being talked down to, no more being bullied, no more Guy Verhofstadt. I mean, what's not to like? I know you're going to miss us. I know you want to ban our national flags, but we're going to wave you goodbye, and we'll look forward in the future to working with you as sovereign.
If you disobey the rules, you get cut off. Could we please remove the flags? Mr. Farage, could we remove the flags, please?
That's it. It's all over. Finished. We've gone.
Could I please ask for quiet? Please sit down, resume your seats, put your flags away, you're leaving, and take them with you if you are leaving now. And goodbye. Can I just say, if I may say, just in a slight reference, the word hate was used in the last contribution. And I really think, given what we listened to prior to this, that we should not hate anyone or any nation or any people.
We hate the European Union. So there we are. The basic message from the Vice Chairman of the Parliament was, take your flags, meaning our little Union Jacks, and go. I thought, what a perfect opportunity to get up and walk out, which I did. Now, Guy Verhofstadt, who I did have a little laugh about in that speech, who I know to LBC listeners, is somebody who incites great passions, I think, on both sides of the argument. He, of course, has been the European Parliament's chief negotiator, working alongside Michel Barnier. So I think what he had to say today is worth listening to.
It is indeed a sad issue. Sad to see a nation leaving, a great nation, that all of us have given so much. I mean culturally, I mean economically, I mean politically, even its own blood in 2 world wars. It's in fact sad to see a country leaving that twice liberated us, twice given its blood to liberate Europe. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a responsibility to make sure that the union to which they will return will be another union, effective and more democratic. So, and that's my last sentence as rapporteur, Mr. President, thank you for the support. So this vote is not an adieu. This vote, Mr. President, is in my opinion only an au revoir. Thank you very much.
Well, the nice thing there was, and I've never heard it before in my 20 years, I really haven't, but Verhofstadt, to be fair, did acknowledge, and because he was the Prime Minister of Belgium, you know, he did acknowledge, actually, that the Brits had shed a lot, and not just them, but their Commonwealth too, had shed much blood so that Belgium and the rest of Europe could be free. It was actually nice to get that acknowledgement, but he thinks we're going to return. I don't think that. I think that 11 p.m. this Friday, the 31st of January 2020, marks the point of no return. There will be no coming back. Well, then we moved to the vote. Did we approve the UK leaving or not? Now, this wasn't a vote that could have stopped Brexit. It was a vote, do we leave on Friday, you know, with what's on the table, or do we just leave with no deal at all? Which, whilst I would have liked it, isn't very realistic. So let's hear the President of the European Parliament, Italian MEP David Sassoli, announcing the result.
Colleghe, colleghi.
Ladies and gentlemen, the European Parliament has voted. It has given its consent with an overwhelming majority to the withdrawal agreement, and now it is Council tomorrow that has to give its final approval in order to wrap up the necessary formalities so that the UK can withdraw from the EU on midnight on Friday the 31st of January.
So there it was, 621 votes to 49 votes, one of the very few times I found myself in the majority. There is some signing, some signatures tomorrow from government ministers from all over Europe. But basically, today was what mattered. It was never really in doubt. But in theory, under the treaties, the European Parliament could have just vetoed the whole blooming thing. It hasn't done that. So we're leaving on an agreement. Not one I like, but then when Boris says there'll be no regulatory alignment, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, we were, of course, very, very pleased. I have been campaigning for 27 years for this. I've been here for getting on 21 years, and I view it as a big day. I think everybody in Brussels today viewed it as a very historic day. But the British Liberal Democrats are not happy bunnies, and this was them after the announcement of the vote. So that was the Liberal group in the Parliament, led by the British Liberal Democrats. And I have to say, just after that, there were quite a lot of people in tears. And I suppose the reason for that is partly because there are some people that absolutely believe in this European project, want to see a United States of Europe. I also sense partly people are losing their jobs. And for a lot of people, this is a job where you've got a chauffeur-driven car. There's a Mercedes waiting downstairs. I just need to click my fingers. The car picks me up and takes me off. We get invited to lunches, breakfast, dinners, champagne receptions. I remember my first day here being told as an MEP I was part of the elite of Europe. So you can understand, perhaps on a human level, why it hurts some people. You can probably also understand why I am not particularly popular amongst many British MEPs, but it's done. And I'm asking you tonight, do you think this heralds a brighter future? And I mean this not just for the UK, but for the European Union too. Will it lead to debates? Will it change Europe? Will it lead to a Europe of cooperation rather than what we've got? And are we going to prosper and do well? 0345 6060 973. I'm going to go and ask Steve in Maidstone. Steve, do you think this heralds a brighter future?
Yes, I do, Nigel. Yes, and I think it's a momentous night, and it's great to speak to you on this momentous night. Just a huge sense of relief, and yes, I do. You know, my overwhelming sense is that I think there's still some pain to come, if I'm being honest, but I think, you know, it's a huge thing to actually finally be out. I know there's a year of transition still to go, but yeah, essentially, I think it's a great thing. I know. Yeah,
we've broken the. I mean, Steve. Yeah, no. I mean, I wonder whether though it's a sense of optimism or a sense of relief, Steve, or perhaps a little bit of both.
I think it is a bit of both. I think relief is after the 3.5 years or over 3.5 years now of absolute agony, like pulling teeth. You know, lots of kind of personal relations and friendships I think have been affected by this, and I think it's just a relief that some of those perhaps can be now, you know, realigned
and part of the healing process that Boris has talked about. Yep, Steve,
Absolutely.
thank you for your call. Giles takes a different view on Facebook and says, I think we'll be back. I'm still hoping there's a way back into the EU at some stage. Giles, I don't know what you're on, but it isn't going to work. It is now 6:15, live from Brussels. News headlines now with Thomas Watts.
The European Parliament has finalised Britain's departure from the EU, voting overwhelmingly to back Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. The World Health Organization has urged all countries to be on alert over the coronavirus outbreak. The operator of Northern Rail Services has been stripped of the franchise 5 years early. Rain in the northwest tonight, mostly dry elsewhere, a low of -1.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. On the M25 clockwise, 2 lanes are closed because of an accident after junction 14 for Heathrow, so there are queues from junction 12 for the M3. Clockwise on the M25, there are also queues because of 2 separate accidents between junction 24 for Potters Bar and junction 25 for Enfield, so 2 lanes are closed there. On the M25 anti-clockwise, there are queues to the Dartford Tunnel from junction 2 for the A2. That's after a car broke down earlier. It's slow and popular on the A12 Blackwall Tunnel approach southbound because of emergency repairs before the Abbott Road interchange. On the trains, Great Northern and Thameslink have delays on services from London to Cambridge. That's because of a signalling problem. And South Eastern, they're running a reduced service between Kent House and Bromley South.
This is LBC.
Attention, please. We at HealthSpan would like to tell you something that, quite possibly, you didn't already know. Not all supplements are created equal. I know. Who'd have thought? We travel the entire globe to find the best ingredients for our vitamins and supplements. From the southern slopes of India for our turmeric to the cold, crisp seas of Greenland for our cod liver oil. Because that's the HealthSpan way. Well, there you go. It's not every day you learn something new, is it? We're HealthSpan. That's healthspan.co.uk. Vitamins and supplements. In-store or direct to your door.
This is LBC.
Teaching shapes lives. If you're considering a career in teaching, you could be eligible for a £26,000 tax-free training bursary. Find out about the financial support to help you start your career in the classroom. Teaching. Every lesson shapes a life. Search Get Into Teaching. Bursary subject to eligibility. Selected subjects only.
Fly with Cathay Pacific and arrive ready to make the most of the endless white beaches of Bali. Book now at cathaypacific.com. Cathay Pacific. Move beyond.
When it comes to music, I've heard it all. Pink Floyd, Sean Paul, Slipknot. But in the Which Test Lab, hearing isn't enough. When we test headphones, we really listen. Not just to the music, but to the stuff that gets in the way. The traffic, the chatter, all that. Mind the gap. We simulate the loudest commute to find you the headphones that cancel out the noise. So you know we're only recommending the best.
Which tests harder so you can buy smarter. Visit which.co.uk.
Stop searching for the same car as everybody else and switch it up to the all-new Vauxhall Corsa. Right now it's only £199 per month with an initial rental of $597. Search new Corsa offers. Vauxhall. New rules Britannia. Personal contract hire on Corsa SE 1.2 75 PS with brilliant paint. Subject to status, T's and C's 18+. Initial rental 597 plus 47 months at 199. 32,000 total contracted mileage. You want to own the car. Vauxhall Finance Leasing. Customer orders placed by 29th of February 2020.
Here you are, it's January again.
Nuh-uh. This is 2020, the year of the boss. The year you leave your same old job and boss the business of your #dreams. And with a 3 business plan, you get exclusive benefits from FreshBooks, Moo, WeWork, and Wix. Plus, you can get unlimited data, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost. So you can ride the wave of new biz like an absolute pro.
Get a plan fit for a boss, because 3 means business, just like you. Compatible device required. See 3.co.uk/5G.
At Argos, our new range is out now, online and in our new catalogue. Transform your home with our new stylish furniture and homewares range. And join in the fun with this season's latest tech and toys. With Argos, you get to go. Subject to availability.
This is LBC, live from Brussels, the Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
An historic day in Brussels. We are leaving. There are no barriers now, effectively. And I have to say, joy for me, big upset for the Liberal Democrats, many of whom were genuinely in tears. But does this herald a brighter future? Because that's what matters, really, isn't it? Dave says to me by message, now we're able to run away from the pure arrogance of Barnier. Do you know what, Dave? One of the things that has shifted quite a lot of Remainers into accepting we should leave is the way they've treated our Prime Minister, the way they've behaved ever since June 2016. I did say in my speech, no more being talked down to, no more being bullied, and no more Guy Verhofstadt. So, yeah, it is something I think that they mishandled. Let us go to Sam in Putney. Sam, good evening to you.
Good evening, Nigel. Nigel, forgive me for saying, but I think you're an absolute disgrace today in Brussels.
Very good. Why?
I think your conduct is entirely, totally unbecoming of any political leader. I don't think you...
Tell me how.
The way you acted today, you conducted, the disrespect you showed, does not represent this country, this great country. You are an absolute
disrespect
disgrace
to whom,
today.
Sam? Disrespect to
Disrespect to everybody that was there, and the 500 million people who are represented there. I think it was entirely unbecoming of any political leader, Nigel.
I said I love Europe. And how's that disrespectful?
I think you were entirely condescending, and you intended to be condescending, just as you have done in the past. The fact that we're leaving is gone now. We're leaving. You got what you wanted, which is fine, but I think it is entirely unbecoming of the way you conducted yourself today.
Well, Sam, look, okay. I said I love Europe. I said I hope that Brexit leads to a debate around other European countries, and I really hope that in the future we can play our role in a Europe of cooperating nation states, recognising that we're neighbours and we have shared common interests. I did say, all right, I'll admit it, I hate the European Union. I believe it to be anti-democratic. I think it's a bad structure. But Sam, isn't that just normal debate? I mean, how is that? Just tell me, how is that above and beyond?
The way you conducted yourself was not normal debate, and I think Mary McGuinness did absolutely the right thing to intervene and put you in your place. I'm very sorry, but that is the fact. I think you need to look back on what you said, and I think you'll cringe, as we all did as Brits, because you are our representative there.
Sam, what did I say that made you cringe?
Nigel, I think there is a huge problem if you don't know. The way you acted, the way you
I think you're just prejudiced, aren't you?
The reaction you got. No, I'm not. Tell me how
you're just prejudiced. Whatever I'd said, you wouldn't have liked it, would you?
No, I'm over that piece now. We are Brexit.
No, you're not. I don't think you are.
It's finished. No, it's done, Nigel. And I think there was absolutely no need for you to speak the way you did. Why couldn't you not be, a bit more gracious?
I want to try one more time. I want to try one more time. What is it I said that really caused offence?
Well, language matters. And I think...
I know. And name me one word I used that was bad.
Well, first of all, we'll come back to the words because I'll need to remember what you said. But
please.
The flag waving, I think that was absolutely unnecessary, and it was very childish.
So when they,
I'm sorry to say,
I see. So when they do the European anthem and stand ramrod to attention, and all stand and point towards the European Union flag, that's fine, yeah.
Well, it is. You are in the European Parliament, so yes, it is fine.
Right, a national flag should be banned. So McGuinness was right to say, take your flags and go.
She was absolutely right, because there are ways to conduct yourself.
I'm going to agree with you, Sam. I'm going to agree with you. She was dead right to be upset with me. We did take our flags. We did walk out. Thank God we're leaving, is all I can say. Sam, thank you for your call. Camilla is calling from Beaconsfield. Good evening, Camilla.
Mr. Nigel Farage, congratulations, celebrations. That caller, I'm standing here laughing. I am over the moon. I watched your thing. I was in the middle of work. I watched you on the TV on my laptop, and I thought it was absolutely excellent. I didn't have my flag with me, but my God, would I have been waving it.
But you should have been with us, Camilla.
I wish I was. I tell you what, you are a star performer. I told you, even before Donald Trump, you should have got together with Boris. You're the man who's done it, not Boris. You are absolutely. And the last caller, I was standing waiting for you to take my call. And, I mean, he's off the plane altogether. He says that, you were out of order. Absolute nonsense. Oh, I mean, look, where do these people come from?
I think whatever I'd said, he would have said I was like a football hooligan. And we did it for those that. And for those that haven't seen it, you can go to lbc.co.uk.
Fish and chips anyway.
You can see the video.
Like fish and chips. Listen, Nigel, Mr. Nigel Farage.
Yes.
I tell you something. I think it's absolutely genius. I think it's wonderful. Well done, you. You are the one. You've done it. I've been behind you all the way in my head. I've even lit candles for you in the church. I'm telling you, you're a star.
Camilla, thank you very much indeed. Well, they're two quite contrasting calls in a row that we've had. But, of course, we do know that ever since this debate really started, there have been big passions on both sides. Truth is, there were big passions in the 1970s on both sides. I was looking at an Oxford Union debate the other day with Jeremy Thorpe, who was very, very much be in the European Union, Barbara Castle very much against being in the European Union. And, there's always been passionate debate around this subject. Let us go to William in Carrickfergus in Northern Ireland. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Nigel. Pleasure to speak to you.
Pleasure to speak to you. Now, William, let me just say one quick thing before you talk. Yeah. So, I sat in the vote, and I sat next to Anne Widdecombe, and Anne and I both voted for the agreement, even though Anne's reservations on it were even stronger than me. But next to Anne, two away from me was Diane Dodds. Diane has been an MEP, a DUP MEP for many, many years, a Brexiteer. And she voted against the agreement because she is so upset at what she feels Boris has done to Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Well, I can quite understand that. Yeah, well, Boris Johnson, when Theresa May's deal was repeatedly voted down, his words were that no unionist or Conservative politician could possibly vote for such an agreement, as it would lead to the breakup of the union and alienate one section of it. I run my own business. I do very, very little business with the Republic of Ireland. Most of our business is within Northern Ireland and mainland GB. And I am now sitting in a position where I am in the worst of both worlds. We're going to be constrained by European regulations, even after the transition period, whether that's successful or not. And then I'm going to have to complete customs declarations forms for goods going out to mainland GB. Is there invariably that's going to bring additional costs for our customers, for us transporting goods, possibly delays as well. And I'm finding it very hard to celebrate anything off the back of the agreement that was signed up to.
Do you know,
it's very frustrating.
William, I spoke to a couple of Northern Irish MPs in the last week, and they feel a bit like you. They're pleased we're leaving. They're pleased the UK's leaving, but they feel that... And the narrative is that Northern Ireland's got the best of both worlds, but you think it's the worst of both. And
well,
it is difficult. It is difficult.
It's the not knowing what's lying after the 31st of December this year. And if we're going to have to start completing customs declaration forms for goods going to another part of the United Kingdom, which we're an inextricable part of.
Which Boris says you won't. Boris says you won't have to.
Well, Boris says lots of things, but whether you can believe everything or not is another thing. But at the end of the day, the Good Friday Agreement is obviously very important, and the peace that we're having at the moment, obviously no one wants to go back to that again. But I just don't know what the answer is once we get past the end of the year, especially if there's no trade agreement arrived at by the end of the transition period. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I do understand that for Brexiteers in the rest of the United Kingdom, this is quite a joyous moment approaching on Friday evening. And yes, sure, we're all worried about what comes next, but sort of, in a sense, that important though it is, that becomes detail compared to the main event. And I want you in Northern Ireland too to keep that in your mind. This is still the main event, William. There's a lot more to come afterwards. I know it's tough. I thank you for your call and for your frankness. Rebecca, text me. Oh my God, Nigel, did someone really say your flag waving was the worst thing you did today? Well, all we did was just get our flags and wave and say goodbye. And that seems to really, really upset some people. But Rory says, at long last, what a journey. I'm so happy we finally got there. Bring on the 31st. Rory, I agree with that. This is the Nigel Farage Show on LBC, live from Brussels. I have just half an hour left in these institutions. It's now time for the news with Thomas Watts.
The President of the European Commission has called for the EU and UK to remain good friends and good partners. MEPs have voted overwhelmingly to back the government's Brexit deal, the final hurdle before the UK's departure on Friday. British citizens are being flown back to the UK from the Chinese city of Wuhan to be quarantined for 2 weeks. About 200 British nationals are expected to board a chartered flight from the city at the centre of the outbreak on Thursday morning. Rebecca Long-Bailey has become the third contender to make it to the final stage of the Labour leadership contest. The Shadow Business Secretary has secured the backing of the Fire Brigades Union. LBC weather, rain in the northwest later, showers in southern and eastern areas will clear to leave a mostly dry night with clear spells, a low of -1.
This is LBC. After 3.5 years.
Dare to dream that the dawn is breaking on an independent, united kingdom. Let June the 23rd go down in our history as our Independence Day.
With the country and government still wrestling over the result, was it ever going to happen?
The ayes to the right, 202. The noes to the left, 432.
Theresa May has just suffered the largest ever defeat of any British Prime Minister in history. Where does her government go from here?
But after election 2019, finally, some clarity.
Let's get Brexit done.
The final countdown is on to Brexit. This Friday, Nigel Farage will take your calls from 6 and then join me, Nick Ferrari, for a special programme on Brexit night. And if Parliament won't play the bongs of Big Ben, then I will. This Friday on LBC.
Want to kit out your new kitchen for less? Get to B&Q. We've 20% off all kitchen sinks, taps and appliances when you spend £2,500 on a beautifully designed and affordable good home kitchen. Hurry, offer ends 2nd of February. You can do it when you B&Q it. In-store orders only, maximum 10 appliances, excludes clearance, see DIY.com.
Teaching shapes lives. If you're thinking of becoming a teacher, our expert teaching advisors can give you the level of support you need to get one step closer to the classroom. Teaching. Every lesson shapes a life. Search Get Into Teaching. Advisor support subject to eligibility.
You can't stop a sneeze. But with Dettol, you can help stop it spreading from surface to surface. Kill 99.9% of bacteria and cold and flu viruses living on your surfaces. Clean it, kill it, and help stop the spread of cold and flu with Dettol. See instructions on pack.
Standard. Stagnant. Same old, same old. That's not how you describe London. We're, well, different. London loves bright new ideas, embraces vibrant, evolving communities, and isn't afraid of standing out. We deserve an energy company that's as different as we are, one that's fair and affordable for all Londoners. London Power, a different kind of energy company.
True love lasts. Introducing the all-new Renault Clio, a car 30 years in the making. Start your Clio love story today for just $179 a month with 0% APR, now with a 5-year warranty. PCP Renault Finance, Clio Play, SE, 75, 24 months, deposit 2685. Optional final payment 7714. Subject to status, over 18s, T's and C's apply. Order by March 31st. Retail customers at participating dealers only. Warranty 100,000 miles or 5 years. Visit Renault.co.uk/warranty. Search Clio offers.
We live in an age where you can stream any box set instantly. But staying on top of our pensions is anything but instant. PensionBee can transfer most old pensions together into one simple online plan, so you can manage your pension on your smartphone as simply as streaming that box set. Download the app or visit pensionbee.com today.
Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Capital at risk.
Hello? It's time you swapped your daily grind for some sun, sea, and salsa! Sangria! Sun lounger! Siesta! Salsa! The dip. Sandals. Suntan lotion. We've done salsa, ain't we? In the Seychelles, Spain, or anywhere else in the world at surprisingly low prices. When you need a holiday, it's time to Travel Republic. Book with confidence at Toll Protected.
The Nigel Farage Show, live from Brussels, only on LBC.
Whether you voted Brexit or Remain, whether you're happy about what's going to happen at 11 o'clock this Friday night or not, this is a very major historic moment, because I would argue that in terms of our constitution and in terms of our position in the world, this is the biggest change since Henry VIII took us out of the Church of Rome, and this Friday we leave the Treaty of Rome. It's big stuff. And a little bit more history. I said in the chamber today at the start of my speech that we end a 47-year membership of this club. Remember, of course, it was called the EEC. And I made the point, my mother and father did not vote for a political union because it morphed into the EC and then the EU. And it's worth remembering that the reason we only joined 47 years ago, given that our original application was made in 1961, the reason it took another 12 years for us to join is that the French president, General de Gaulle, kept vetoing Britain. He didn't want us a member of the European Union. He didn't think we'd fit. He thought that our relationship with the English-speaking world, our legal system, and many other things meant we would not work inside this union. I have to say, I think he was right. We are off to Berlin to speak to Max. Max, good evening to you.
Good evening. First of all, you do not have constitution. Second of all,
yes, we do.
You did not. No, you don't have it. Show it to me.
Oh, for goodness sake! Can we grow up? We have. We have. We do have. We do have a constitution.
Racist, and you show that in every single move you make.
Oh dear! Have you been at the schnapps, Max? Have you? I mean, you sound very angry.
Yeah, no.
You sound very angry.
I'm angry because I wasted 15 years on you. Of course, I'm angry. Okay?
You've wasted 15 years.
15 years of my life on you, and he likes you. Okay?
No, I don't understand.
To be let down. That's why I moved to Berlin. I don't want to have anything to do with you. You should be isolated. Good luck to you. Have a nice life. Go on. If you can make it, go on through it. But English are gone. Okay, for me.
Max, can I just clarify, Max? Are you saying that I should be in isolation or the United Kingdom should be in isolation?
No, England should be in isolation. Because
right. So you hate the English? You hate the English,
no,
yeah?
No, I don't hate anyone.
Sounds like it.
That you are closet racist, as you were called, which was right, a closet racist. That's what you
Surely
are.
you can find more abuse than that for me, Max, can't you? Your life must be awful. Yeah.
Yes. That's why I moved away from you, isn't it?
Good.
I did, yeah.
Do you know what? If you don't, Max, if you don't like our country, if you don't like our country, then I'm very pleased you've gone.
No, I don't like.
And what happens?
England. I like Scotland. I like Ireland. I don't like England.
Right. The old enemy, the English.
There we are. No,
I thought you'd moved on, you chaps, but there we are.
After your performance in European Parliament, such a despicable way of talking. I mean, how can you? You're lowest of the low. That's what
You're great value, Max. I really hope you get back on the schnapps, have a lovely evening. We will stay in Europe. That was really interesting, wasn't he? He wants England to be isolated. How totally extra. Thank God we're leaving. Jack is in Rotterdam, a new caller to LBC. Jack, good evening to you.
Good evening, Mr. Farage. What an honour for me as a very, very big pro-European to talk to you at your last evening being an MEP.
Well, that's a very interesting start. Jack, carry on.
Yeah, because, England or Great Britain has a very big place in my heart because of the history we share. And it was a big disappointment for me to see the democratic vote decide otherwise or different from what I hoped it would be. But, it is what it is. And thanks to Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister, I started to understand why you wanted to leave.
Jack, can I ask you something? Are you a true believer in the European Union project?
Yes.
And let's just be clear. Yes. So you want a United States of Europe, you want it to be an empire, a global power.
But there's a big difference between my country, the Netherlands, 17 million people, and we are totally dependent on every other country around us. And the United Kingdom, which in combination with the Commonwealth has a big, perfect base to start over again, in my opinion. It will be difficult maybe at first, but it's a 2.9 trillion economy, so I don't think it will be a disaster or like living in hell, like some people say.
Oh, that was terrible, wasn't it? I mean, that was that ghastly bloke Tusk, the former Polish Prime Minister, who was the boss of the European Council, who said there's a special place in hell.
Nigel. It was a big compliment because because I was thinking not the same thing, but we were so very disappointed to see a country or an empire like the United Kingdom leave the European program. Some things should have been said differently, but the overall feeling, I think, with many Europeans is that it's a shame that we cannot work on this project together.
Jack,
especially, that's what I have to credit.
Jack, listen to me.
He was exactly saying what I was thinking. We owe you so much.
Yeah, but what he was then saying was, we have to have a Europe, we have to have a unified Europe where everybody obeys the rules. And Jack, let me make you a promise. If they continue down this route of wanting everything centralised, everything run by, effectively, the Commission, to go on with their military projects expansion, there will be no European Union whatsoever in 10 years' time, because voters will rebel. Jack, I'm going to put this to you. Wouldn't you and I both be happy if we had a European structure that was based on democratic nation states agreeing to work together, to trade together, to cooperate together, to have reciprocity, student exchanges? Do we need to have a flag, an anthem, people like Juncker? Surely we can have a Europe where we act as neighbours in the street and work together. Wouldn't that be a better vision,
isn't
a
that
more
the Europe
realistic
we have
vision?
now, Nigel? That's the Europe we have now.
No, yes. Jack. If it was, Jack.
The United Kingdom
Jack,
is it's the proof. The United Kingdom is the proof that we have the Europe you just described. Because what the United Kingdom did was vote, and they said, no, we leave. And
why did we say no, Jack? Why did we say no? Why did we say no, Jack?
There's a 4-minute clip
think about
of
that.
Minister. You really should see. Because it explains it all. And there's another thing.
It's about,
Kingdom.
it's the French and the Germans. Yeah, I do know the clip. Jack, I honestly, if the Europe we had was cooperative, if the Europe we had was not run by commissioners, I would not have campaigned to leave, Jack. If it was a cooperative Europe, I would not have campaigned
to leave. I live in the Eurozone. I grew up in the currencies of all different countries, including the border controls. And now I have my passport or my identity card I can go to Britain whenever I like. I can travel all over Europe, and I have my currency is the best currency in the world right now.
You could do that before, and your currency has ruined the lives of tens of millions in the Mediterranean. Jack, you're a lovely man. Thanks for the call. I'm going to go to Lynn in Tunbridge Wells, new caller to LBC. Are you disgusted of Tunbridge Wells, Lynn?
Very disgusted, actually, Nigel. Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe some of the callers tonight. But, I mean, the thing is, I'm an academic, and I've been an academic for 30 years. And I remember teaching the European Union and you know, all these topics 30 years ago. And 25 years ago, we were talking about a free trade area. And then all of a sudden it got to, you know, free movement of people, a parliament, laws and everything. And I kind of felt at the time, this is just not going to work. I mean, one of the things that I've always been very surprised about is, I mean, we've got 28 EU member states. Now it's 27. But when you look at the size of a lot of these countries, I mean, I used to teach this, and I used to think, well, you know, you've got Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Malta, Romania. I mean, tiny, tiny little countries. I mean, they wouldn't even fit into London. And yet I used to think, why is it that we somehow have to have the agreement of every 28 member state to get things done? And I mean, I just think the whole project, I mean, I used to go out to the Commission and I used to sit on these project evaluations. And I must admit, Nigel, the money that was wasted on ridiculous, futile projects, you know, millions of pounds on so-called research projects that never produced anything. And it was literally just a bunch of people running consultancy.
But it's taxpayers' money, Lynn. No one cares.
Taxpayers' money.
No one cares.
Why isn't this going to hospitals, schools? I mean, our infrastructure. You know, you can't drive a car in the UK now without potholes. I mean, I just felt the whole thing was a waste.
I'll give you a stat, Lynn. I'll give you a stat, right? As you're someone who's been to Brussels and been to the European Commission, I'll give you a stat. There are 10,000 people working within 2 miles of where I'm sitting right now who work for European institutions, 10,000 people who earn more than the British Prime Minister.
Absolutely.
Is it any wonder?
Absolutely.
Is it any wonder?
Yeah.
Is it? Doesn't this thing serve itself and not the people of Europe now?
Well, I mean, I'm from East London. I'm a practical sort of person. I grew up watching people work for the Ford Motor Company. I mean, I saw a lot of poverty in the East End. And I used to go out to the Commission and I used to say to some of these colleagues of mine, God, look at the money that gets wasted here. Look at all these buildings. Look at all these salaries. And I had graduates saying to me, oh, yes, I've got a job in the Commission. I'm going to be on this salary and earn this pension, have these holidays, sick pay. I mean,
long holidays. Yeah. And no one works on Friday afternoon, Lynn, believe you me. In the summer, the motorway up to the Belgian beaches is an absolute crawl. Well, do you know what? I can't blame people who have left university and come and worked here for 20, 30 years. They've got the best pension ever known to man, but it just couldn't go on. Lynn, thank you very much for your call. This is the Nigel Farage Show. It is now 46 minutes past 6 and time for the news headlines with Thomas Watts.
The European Parliament has given its final approval to the UK's Brexit agreement. British people who leave Wuhan into China are due to be put in quarantine for 2 weeks. The decision to bring Northern Rail services under public control has been described as a victory for passengers. Rain in the northwest tonight, mostly dry elsewhere, a low of -1.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. On the M25 clockwise, 3 lanes are closed. The junction 14 for Heathrow because of an accident, so there are queues from junction 12 for the M3. Clockwise on the M25, there are also queues after 2 separate accidents earlier between junction 24 for Potters Bar and junction 25 for Enfield. There were queues embarking on the A13 out of town. A lane's blocked because of an accident at Movers Lane. It's slow and Poplar on the A12, Blackwall Tunnel approach southbound. That's because of the emergency repairs just before the Abbott Road interchange. On the trains, Great Northern and Thameslink have delays of around 45 minutes on services from London to Cambridge. London Overground have no service between South Tottenham and Barking. And South Eastern, they're running a reduced service between Kent House and Bromley South.
Coming up at 7 on LBC, Ian Dale.
We have a cracking cross-question lined up for you tonight at 8 with former Defence Secretary Penny Mordaunt, Anna Soubry, Matthew Elliott from Vote Leave and Labour MP Stephen Kinnock.
Ian Dale on LBC.
London's air pollution affects every borough and everyone's health, especially children. The main cause?
road transport. The Mayor and TfL are working to clean up London's buses and taxis, but there are things we can all do as well. By swapping just one car trip every week for walking, cycling or public transport, we can help make London's air cleaner together for everyone. See how the Mayor and TfL are working towards cleaner air. Sign up to do your bit and swap that trip at lbc.co.uk.
Hello? It's time you swapped your daily grind for some sun, sea, and salsa! Sangria! Sun lounger! Siesta! Salsa! The dip. Sandal! Suntan lotion! We've done salsa, ain't we? In the Seychelles, Spain, or anywhere else in the world at surprisingly low prices. When you need a holiday, it's time to Travel Republic. Book with confidence at Toll Protected.
Standard. Stagnant. Same old, same old. That's not how you describe London. We're, well, different. London loves bright new ideas, embraces vibrant, evolving communities, and isn't afraid of standing out. We deserve an energy company that's as different as we are, one that's fair and affordable for all Londoners. London Power, a different kind of energy company.
The real reason Sleeping Beauty fell asleep was because it was taking so long for the palace to sell, and the handsome prince needed the proceeds to buy their new home with no time to dwell.
I know who can help. Property Rescue. I'll contact them straight away.
So he spoke to their friendly team who took care of every detail. They bought the palace direct with no legal fees to pay. Fast forward to living happily ever after. Visit propertyrescue.co.uk. Property Rescue. Fast forward to sold.
Here you are, it's January again.
Nuh-uh, this is 2020, the year of the boss. The year you leave your same old job and boss the business of your #dreams. And with a 3 business plan, you get exclusive benefits from FreshBooks, Moo, WeWork, and Wix. Plus, you can get unlimited data, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost. So you can ride the wave of new biz like an absolute pro.
Get a plan fit for a boss, because 3 means business, just like you. Compatible device required. See 3.co.uk/5G.
How much money will you get when you sell your car?
11,000.
12,000. 12,600.
£13,000. Wouldn't it be great if you could see offers from online buyers and specialist car dealers all in one place? Motorway.co.uk is the comparison site to sell your car. With Motorway, it's easy to compare offers and find your best deal. You could get up to £1,000 more. Go to motorway.co.uk, the easy way to sell your car for more.
Motorway.co.uk.
You know what it's like when you can't find your debit card? Panic. That's what it's like. Until you realise, as a Halifax Visa debit card holder, that you can freeze your card on the spot. Control your Halifax Visa debit card with the Halifax mobile app. Easy as.
You can only freeze certain transaction types. Terms and conditions apply.
This is LBC, live from Brussels, the Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
The deadlock is broken. We're leaving. The European Parliament confirmed that today in a pretty historic day here in Brussels. I think it leads to a brighter future. Some people seem very upset by it, but lots are happy. This text from Craig is just epic. He said, I had done so well until now. I watched the European Parliament today and it brought me to tears. Tears of joy. I nearly made it through dry January, but now I'm off to the bar to celebrate with a few beers. Bad luck, Craig. I'm sorry about that if I've led you astray. John says, what a day. I'm beyond happy. I think this is the happiest I've been since my wedding day, but don't tell the missus. Do you know what? The next call is also from Tunbridge Wells. It's Roberto this time. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Mr. Farage. This is a delight beyond your belief. I am here celebrating. I've got a bottle of Southern Comfort, sorry for the pun, but I'm absolutely delighted with what you've managed to achieve over your 27 years of endeavours. I have a small little company in Tunbridge, and on Friday, 11 a.m, we're going to be delighted to celebrate with you, with champagne for all the staff members
and any members of the public that want to come by to celebrate the departure of the EU. I am long in tooth, and I was at school at the time when we had that promise that the European Union was going to be something that was going to give us free trade with Europe. And that was it. There wasn't no political alignment.
Just quickly, it wasn't called the European Union. It was called the Common Market, the EEC,
Common Market,
wasn't
you're
it?
correct. Actually, you see, I've been so persuaded over the years that the EU was something that began, but it wasn't. You're right, sir. It was the Common Market.
And Roberto, as a businessman,
yes.
As a businessman, do you fear any downsides of leaving the European Union?
No, I think there's a short term. I think that the 3 years of stagnancy that we've had certainly hasn't helped. There has been, certainly a lull in business for ourselves. We're in the motor industry, and there has been a lot of reluctancy from the public to make decisions. So decision-making has been allowed to go to the background. So now, I think
it's sort of impasse, isn't it, really?
With the foresight of what's going to happen, people are believing more in the future. But honestly, I can only congratulate you because your endeavours. I watched at work today what happened at the European Parliament, and it was a bit of a debacle, really, at the end, turning off your speaker. That was ridiculous. But that is small-minded people who are reluctant to accept what you say is the populace. The decision of the populace wants to get out, and I congratulate you.
Thank you very much indeed. You're very kind, Roberto. I'm going to Glasgow to speak to Martin. Martin, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel, and I'm not a happy man with you.
Okay, right. Well, the floor is yours. Tell me why.
Right, first and foremost, you told a wee fib. You turned around and said about the United Kingdom's constitution. We do not have a constitution in the United Kingdom.
We do have a constitution.
We do not have a written constitution, Nigel.
No, I didn't say written constitution. I think we should have a written constitution. Martin, we do have a constitution. The fact that it's not written makes it difficult. Let's not split hairs on this. You'll bore people, all right? So move on.
Right, second thing is you turned around today and you say this is a day of celebration. You're right, it is a day of celebration for people in Scotland. Because today the Scottish Government have turned around and said that they are going to have our independence referendum. So it is a day of celebration.
Well, they'll lose it.
They won't lose it. I think you'll
find,
Nigel.
They'll lose it big time. They'll lose it big time.
No, they won't.
Why would Scotland not want to be part of the United Kingdom, but actually want to be governed from Brussels and probably be forced to join the Euro?
We'll be a separate country. I'd just like to point something out that one of your callers said there, Nigel.
Martin, you can't be independent and a member of the EU. Make your mind up. What do you want to be?
Well, so what about Norway then? Is Norway a part of the EU?
No, it's not a member of the
that's
European
exactly
Union.
the point I'm making. You're turning around and assuming that the Scottish people...
So you're saying that Scotland won't join the EU?
No. What I said was Scotland will probably go in the same way as Norway goes. We will have a trading agreement with the EU. There is nothing to...
Right.
We will have a vote.
Well, that is not what Nicola Sturgeon is saying, all right? Now, Martin, if
what
the
Nicola
proposition...
Sturgeon said... wait a minute, Nigel. What Nicola Sturgeon said was she would turn round and under the Constitution of Scotland, she would go back to the people and ask them to vote. At that point, they will decide what kind of relationship they want with Europe. That is something completely different from what you're trying to portray.
It has been clear all the way through, both Salmon and Sturgeon are EU fanatics. And if there's a different proposition, if they're talking about Scotland becoming genuinely independent, like Norway, that's a different cup of tea. And if that's what they're talking about, they could win. All right? Thank you. Well, I reflect back. I've been coming here for nearly 21 years. There is a deep irony to all of this. It's only because I was an MEP in the European Parliament that I had that title, that I was able to be invited onto the BBC and LBC and elsewhere over the years and to make arguments that really weren't being made in our political spectrum. So it's a deep irony that it's because I was an MEP that I was able to build a political movement in this country that forced Cameron into offering a referendum. And that, of course, is what proportional representation does. You actually get a reflective vote. And in 1999, UKIP got 7% of the national vote, and 3 of us came here. I think over the years of the Van Rompuy speech, which caused huge uproar but was watched by many millions on social media and elsewhere, I'm going to miss the drama. There was plenty of drama today. I'll miss that. I'll miss being part of it. But I've achieved my objective. And I wonder in life or in politics how many people set out with a clear vision and actually manage to get there. And I feel very privileged. I really do feel very privileged, actually, to be in that position. So I'm just about, in a few minutes, to walk out of the door for the last time. I have to hand my pass back in, my entry pass to the building, and I will be persona non grata as far as Brussels is concerned. But you know what? That kind of suits me. She said today, Miss McGuinness, take your flags and go. I'll walk out carrying my flag. I am going to pass over to Ian Dale.
Nigel, I hear you've been a naughty boy on your last day at school.
I don't think so, Ian, really. I really don't. I mean, I was saying we love Europe, we love the European people, we love a Europe of cooperative nation states, but this model is anti-democratic and bust.
Well, you're not going to find me disagreeing. Nigel, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you back in London on Friday. Now, we have a cracking cross question for you at 8 o'clock tonight. If you don't think this panel is going to entertain you, I don't know what will. We have Penny Mordaunt, the former Defence Secretary, with us. Matthew Elliott, the former Director of Vote Leave. Stephen Kinnock, the Labour MP for Aberavon. And Anna Soubry, Conservative, Change UK, Independent, I don't know what else she was, but she's going to be joining us after 8 as well to take your calls. We're going to open up the lines for cross question.